Hello. Hi. It is me, the fanboy of Formula. Uh, this is just kind of a quick update video. I just spent like 39 minutes recording a tour of my room and my game collection, if anyone's interested in that, which I doubt, but you know. I'll upload that in a bit. But this is just a video to update you on my current situation because a lot has happened. A lot has happened, and I'm not going to give you a long, super personal story because a lot of it is very personal. But the long and the short of it, what you mainly need to know is, first of all, I moved, as you might be able to tell by the decor behind me. I've not turned 18 yet, so no, I am not living on my own right now. But I have moved. I am in a different living situation now. I am in a very different part of the country, and I am also in a very, very different living situation. I would argue a much better one. However, I am living in a very rural area, and I've been a city kid all my life, so there's definitely a lot of adjusting. There was a pretty big scare there for a bit where supposedly unlimited Wi-Fi wasn't even offered in my area, and I was going to have to live off of super limited Wi-Fi and basically never stream or upload or download anything ever, and when I did it would be a special event. Luckily, that didn't last long. You know, I pretty shortly after I moved in, we were able to find a provider of unlimited Wi-Fi service, and now I have that, so that's very nice. Um, um, but yeah, the long and the short of it is, you know, I moved. I was in my old living situation, which was not a good one, not at all. And a big incident happened. It was personal, so I'm not going to get into the details. But all you need to know is that it led to me being here, and here is much, much better for me. So ultimately, it was for the best, and I am kind of glad it happened. And you know, I've kind of gotten all settled in. I have all of my things here now, so that's cool. Um, and I'm working on my games still, mainly Bananarang. A few things I want to address about Bananarang. First of all, I definitely think it'll be ready this year. However, I certainly can't promise a release date of that year, and I'm gonna this year, and I'm gonna get more into that in the future of this video. But um, that's a topic for later in the video. But I'm working on Bananarang every day. I've made significant progress. Most recently, I coded the kitchen level. Nobody watching this is going to know what the kitchen level is except me and Funtime Web. But once Bananarang has released and it's the future, then anybody, for whatever reason, watching this video in the future is probably going to know what I mean by the kitchen level. It's probably one of the most iconic levels that will be in the final game. Anyways, I'm kind of on a routine now. I still have school. I still have high school. I go to a community school now, which is, basically it's a mix of high schoolers like me and little kids, which is really weird, but at least they're segmented into two different halves of the building, so it's not quite as chaotic and awful as it could have been. I take a school bus now, which on the one hand is really nice because I've always been the type of person that likes really long rides, and it's honestly pretty relaxing and nice. You know, when the children aren't being incredibly chaotic and, you know, throwing their shoes across the bus and stuff like that. Um, on the other hand, it's about an hour-long bus ride, both from here to the school and from the school and back. So my school days are now pretty much 8 hours instead of 6. So I generally have less time in the day overall, which you'd think would be a really bad thing. But honestly, I've noticed that I've been a lot more productive with my time recently. Maybe it's just the fact that I'm in much more of a proper routine now. It's not really just kind of a free-for-all the way it was back in my old living situation where I would just fall asleep whenever and wherever in a pile of all of my belongings and then, you know, inevitably wake up and, oh, fuck, I gotta get to school, you know, so, um, uh, but yeah, I'm also, eating better now, I guess. You know, medical professionals would be really happy about the change between what I'm eating now compared to what I was eating then. I, on the other hand, don't really care, but hey, it's nice to get food on a regularly scheduled basis anyways, so that, you know, that's cool. It's not to necessarily imply I didn't have food at my old living situation. I had food. That's just... Anyways, so... Sorry, I forgot. Anyways, I'm working on the game each day. It's especially productive on weekends. Now, I want to address a few things I said in the last video, the first of which being that Funtime Web left the project, and for a short while there he did. And I'm going to be honest, that would not have changed, trust me, that would not have changed if things continued on the way that they had. Because the way that things were going, he simply could not be a part of the project. He was not reliable, he was not communicating, he was barely present, he genuinely did not seem to want to be a part of it. But recently, Funtime Web and I have reached a much better point of understanding with each other. He's really gotten back into the game. He's gotten his shit together, I think. I'm really proud of him. He's fully redeemed himself, I think, and he's working on it regularly with me now, which is really great. He and I have started doing calls, which is really good. You know, calling back and forth. And I think it really helps him to... I think it really helps to personify each other, namely him with me, because he doesn't really talk, he just texts while I talk. But the ability for him to see my face and hear my voice, I think, is helping him to recognize me as a person mentally, rather than just a bunch of text on a screen, and it's kind of making it easier for us to work with each other and bounce ideas off each other. And I'll literally just stream myself to him over Discord, just, you know, coding and coming up with ideas and designing levels, and that's really cool. As for the status of Bananarang, it is mostly done. We are past the halfway point of development with Bananarang, so that's really cool. There's a total of 9 worlds in the game, and 5 of them are done. I'm currently working on the 6th one. So a total of 16 out of the planned 27 levels are already in the game. That's really cool. Now, about Bananarang, and don't take this necessarily as an official announcement, but honestly, I'm really excited about Bananarang, and I'm really confident in it. So much so that I think I can actually reasonably find a publisher for it. And I want to. Once I'm done Bananarang, rather than just immediately releasing it to my itch.io page like I have with all my other games, instead, what I plan to do is try to actually find a publisher for it and get it on the Nintendo Switch, which is really cool. I'm really excited about that. I know that that might seem like a fever dream, but I am genuinely so confident in this project that I think I will be able to find somebody who's willing to publish it and port it, and then it will actually be on a console, and that would be really cool. Now, that does not necessarily mean that a computer version will not come out. In fact, one most likely will. It is a game that I built for computers, after all. So the plan is, once I'm done developing the game, I'm going to try and find a publisher who can port and publish an HTML5 game to the Nintendo Switch, because as far as I know, the Switch can run HTML5 games. And, you know, the controls won't be an issue. The whole game is literally just controlled with, you know, 4 directional buttons and 2 face buttons, which the Switch definitely has. Unfortunately, the Switch does not have a traditional D-pad, which would be best for this game, but I'm just going to map the, you know, the left stick and the C buttons to it, and hopefully that'll work well. You know, then the plan is to release the Switch version alongside the computer version. And I will just self-publish the computer version, most likely. Now, the one thing that I know you're all thinking, which probably is going to be true, is that means Bananarang will most likely not be a free game. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean I intend to profit off of Bananarang, because honestly, I just want to see it on consoles. I just want to see it come out and have it, on a console and see people actually play it. But I do sincerely doubt I'm going to find any publisher who is willing to port and publish a game like this for no profit whatsoever. So, what I certainly don't just have a couple $1,000s to drop on an investment like that. So I probably am, at the very least, the console version of Bananarang is most likely going to be paid. And I can't talk about, what the computer version will be like yet. Ideally, I'd be able to make the computer version free, as was always intended, but that might conflict with what the publisher wants, so I don't know. I don't know yet. I've never worked on, anything even remotely at the level of what I'm talking about right now, so this is all theoretical, and keep that in mind. I am 17, I have no experience with any of this. I'm turning 18 in 4 months, so don't worry. I'm not going to rush out to a publisher as a minor and try to get them to publish my game, because that would be stupid. I am going to wait until I'm old enough to actually hold a legal copyright. That being said, the game is coming out really well. It is far and away the best thing I've ever been a part of. It is better than every other game I've ever made combined. It is such a cool project, and it's just so full of life and humor and personality, and beyond that, it's one of the most fun, mechanically sound games I've ever seen, to the point where I do not feel like I'm being too self-indulgent by comparing it to a game like Super Mario Galaxy. So, yeah. Great game. I really can't wait to share it. But I'm going to take my time, make sure it comes out right. But the most important thing to keep in mind is progress is being made on this game faster than ever before. I am working at a very good, efficient rate. I'm getting a lot of progress done, and I would definitely say it's more than feasible that by year's end, the game will be fully programmed and ready to publish. And then the whole publishing situation is going to take a while, probably, because I am going to spend at least a good while trying to find a publisher who will port it, because I really, really want to see this game on the Switch. And I genuinely think it is a competent enough, well-made enough game for me to reasonably expect that somebody would want to put it on the Switch. It's definitely up to the eShop's standards of quality, judging by what I've seen on the eShop. Beyond that, I think it's worth money. That's not to necessarily say I don't think any of my other games are worth money. I just don't really charge for them because, I don't really make games for profit. I've never even considered game making as a really viable career path, because video games are such a ridiculously competitive and, cutthroat industry. And not to mention I use an engine that nobody really takes seriously. But, so it's always been more of a hobby than anything else, and more of a passion, and so I've just made my games free, because at the end of the day, what I really care about is I just want people to play my games and talk about them. I don't really care if I ever see a dime off of the games that I've made. I just want them to be out there, But I do reasonably think that Bananarang will do really well as a title on the eShop, and I'm going to try to make that happen, and I am going to persevere to death on that. Now, unfortunately, I sincerely doubt Nintendo will send me a dev kit, judging by the fact that, A, I've applied for one. Granted, it was stupid of me to do that before I turned 18, but I did do it, and they did not they did not ever get back. Second of all, I have literally no official history with anything. I've never made an engine. I've never, had a game published. I've never really worked with any publishers. I've never even made a commercial product of any kind. So, unless you count my Spreadshirt shop. So I sincerely doubt Nintendo is going to send me one of their dev kits, let alone, if I figure out how the hell to use the damn thing. But I think it is pretty feasible that I might find a publisher who would be willing to port and publish Bananarang to the Switch, and that's what I'm going to try to do. So that is an update on the status of Bananarang, and that's an update on the status of me and my living situation, if anyone cares to know. And as I said, yeah, I'm living in a different place now. Things will be a little different, but, you know, as far as my presence on the internet goes, probably better. I don't really have any real-life friends to distract me from the internet anymore, so, you know, I am making progress every day on the game. I'm making a good amount of progress regularly on the game, a good enough amount that I'm confident in saying the game will be done before the end of the year. And in case you're wondering how this all affects my other games, it doesn't really. As far as the stuff with Bananarang goes, you know, the living situation is what it is, and that'll affect everything as it does. But I am still planning, like, a sequel to Blood Knuckle and, you know, a Battery Chat Builder 3 way off in the distance. That's not going to be for a while, but potentially a Pellet Packer 3. I don't know. I can't promise that, but it has popped up in my mind. And a few other secret projects that I haven't talked about publicly yet, but that are still planned to come out eventually. And those will all be free, and I'm not really going to necessarily go out of my way to try and look for publishers for those ones. Granted, if a publisher wants to publish any of those games, I will gladly work with them. I would love to see as many of my games on an actual console as possible, and I definitely think all of them would be up to the quality standards of the eShop. However, I really am confident in Bananarang, and like I said, I think Bananarang really is better than the sum of its parts. It's easily the best thing I've ever been a part of. I'm so proud of myself just for how it's turned out in general. I'm glad Funtime Web is back in the project. I'm glad that he was able to redeem himself and kind of, you know, just get his shit together. You know, beyond my working relationship with Funtime Web, I've also been his friend for a good few years, and I've seen him fall into a lot of... I won't get into anything too personal for either him or me, but I've seen him fall into a lot of, you know, vicious cycles and you know, unfortunate behavioral patterns, and he seems to be getting a lot better with that, and I'm really happy about that. And I'm happy to be working with him. I don't really know what else to say. I guess that's about it. I will be trying to upload an update, you know, not an update, a tour of my room, if anyone's interested in that, and seeing my game collection and whatnot. And that's about it, I guess. Stay tuned. Stay tuned to my itch.io page for any updates. Don't go to GameJolt because GameJolt is a site run by backstabbing motherfuckers. But that's a long story for the future, though. Listen, one day in the future I'll make probably a pretty long video chronicling my time on GameJolt, but, you know, if I were to do that now, the way that I would have to do it justice, I would be screwing over a lot of people who I actually care about. So I'm not going to do that probably for years to come. It's certainly not at the top of my priority list right now, because as much as I'd love to get it all off my chest, I really just have more important things to worry about, like finishing the game. So, yeah. I'm on, like, a proper schedule now, and that's really helped me to manage my time and actually get shit done. And, you know, that's really cool. So yeah, if anything else comes up, I will make a video. I will update you about it. Like I said, follow my itch.io page if you're interested in any updates, and if you're interested in, you know, my games in general. All of the games I've made so far, at least, are all free to download if you want to try them. Pellet Packer Cookie Crunch and Blood Knuckle are both really great games that seem to resonate with the people I show them to. And both of them recently received updates. Oh, and also Pellet Packer Micro Munch, too. Not only received an update, but also I think that resonates with people a lot. If you like chaos, and if you like real-time strategy and having to micromanage a bunch of shit, you know, And just in general, if you like arcade games, you will really like Pellet Packer Micro Munch, I think. It's a very, very classic arcade game, but with a cool modern twist, and it's great if you like, chaotic, arcadey, quick reflex type games. And then Pellet Packer Cookie Crunch, the official sequel, which is more of a platforming game, but it's still pretty good, I think. I think you'll like that. I think you'll like Blood Knuckle. It's a good puzzle solving game, a good action game. One of my weaker titles, I think, but that doesn't mean it's bad. Um, and I just really love if you would try them out. They're free. Go ahead and make a video about them on your YouTube channel if you want to, or write a long review about how they're terrible. I don't care. You know, anything that allows you to engage with me and the work I've put out, I would vastly appreciate. And hey, negative feedback is the most important feedback, because you can never improve if you think everything you do is great. I would know that very well from my past living situation. Okay, that's the deepest I'll delve into that. Yeah, play my game, try my games, plural. And have a great night, I guess. I don't know. I've always been pretty notoriously bad at ending videos, so I'm just going to press the red square and stop talking.